Well, greetings, one and all, to another episode of the Career Retrospectives right here on the Super Review Show Network. I'm joined by my two incredible friends, Kyle and Mike. What's going on, guys?
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
We are glad to be back here once again. And as the title of our podcast suggests, alludes to, whatever, I think it was not last weekend, but the weekend before that, Post Malone released a country album. Today we're going to be talking about F-1 Trillion's Long Bed from that came out earlier this month in August. And yeah, let's get right into it, shall we? This one is I'm gonna go first on this one, but let me share some love or some enjoyment, I guess you could say, of Post Malone for a second. Post Malone, just a quick backstory. Post Malone's one of these guys who, when I first heard him, I was like, all right, this guy is it's another rapper. My first impression of him was like, all right, he's just another rapper. He's gonna come out and do his thing. But then as his albums have progressed, as time has gone on, I really have come to grown a deeper respect for the guy, truthfully. His last album, Austin, that came out last year in 2023, actually was a really enjoyable record overall. I think I gave it like a 7.5 out of 10, if I'm not mistaken, on that album. I forgot when I gave it offhand, but I really liked his style and where he's going, and he went full on country on this album we're talking about today. So um, it's it's funny, for a guy who started out as like singing about like rapping or and then singing like circles and stuff like that. He really has gone into a quite the guitar country rock or country given direction here. And it's funny, he's I didn't see this coming. I don't think anyone saw this coming really, but he just he put it out and here we are talking about it. So fair warning, it's a long record, and I'm just gonna preface by what I'm saying tonight as I discuss this album's track listing, as I'm not going to repeat myself too much when it comes down to the track listing, because a lot of the songs on this record, to me at least, are very similar structure wise. Like there's verse, chorus, feature, chorus, end of song. It's in that aspect is very repetitive, but nonetheless, I truthfully, I mean, I'm not the biggest country fan. I mean, I like some country. I'm not like the biggest country. I mean, you will not hear me listening to country music in my car. Let's put it that way. But when I'm driving around, but I did this actually. There's a lot of tracks I would go back to. I'm gonna get to in a sec, but that's kind of my introduction to Post Malone, where he's at right now in the music industry and whatnot. And he's coming along well. So let's get right into it, shall we? Track listing for a second here. If you're listening to us, just follow along. If you're watching us, great. If not, hey, stick around. So it's funny. This is a double album too. This is a long album to get into. He Yeah, a lot of features on this one. A lot, guys. A lot of features on this one. But I'm gonna kind of just zip through it a little bit because I mean I don't know how you guys want to do it, but for me personally, I'm just gonna kind of zip through them a little bit, like just overall what I thought of them. Um, Wrong Ones, Finer Things. I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Sorry. Wrong Ones and Finer Things are both says 7.5 out of 10 for me. I'm sorry, I woke up from a nap before. 7.5 out of 10 for me. Um, they're good. They kick off the album in a good way. I like them. It definitely sets the country mood for that. I had some help featuring Morgan Wallen on this album. This song was very much so. It's been on the radio a lot. It's been played a lot on top 40 and country stations and whatnot too. It's actually an 8 out of 10. I like this one a lot. Pour Me a Drink featuring Blake Shelton. I actually like Blake Shelton too. This is about a 7 for me. Have the Heart is about a 6.5. It could go up to a 7, depending on what mood I'm in. And then we get to the first song that does not have a feature of a country artist on there. What Don't Belong to Me. It's a good track. I like it. About a 7 out of 10 here. Goes Without Saying featuring Brad Paisley. Good track nonetheless. I'd say about a 7 out of 10 there. Guy for That featuring Luke Combs, who's huge in the country world. Um, Guy for That with another 7 out of 10 there. And then by this point in the album, I'm like, all right, I'm already like 8 songs in. I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I really am not sure what I'm gonna get for the rest of the album. Nosedive finally changes it up the music just a little bit. Especially when that introduction kicks in with for Nosedive. It's actually a really good song. This actually I took this one up to an 8 out of 10 for that one. Losers featuring Jelly Roll. Another seven. Devil I've Been about a 6.5, could go up to a seven. Again, forgive me, guys. There's a lot of songs in here, so we're gonna go through all of them tonight. But Never Love You Again, about a 7 out of 10 nonetheless. Missing You Like This featuring Luke Combs, about a 7.5. It could be a seven in some cases. California Sober featuring Chris Stapleton for me was a seven. Hide My Gun featuring Hardy was a seven as well. That Right About You, and the second song now that does not feature anyone on there. This one actually went up to an eight for me. Mainly because there's just so many. So when I see an album with so many features on it, the features kind of get like take away from the actual art, the actual like album overall for me. So not all the time, but sometimes. Like if every single song has like featuring Wobbly Dunkly, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that's not a real person, but like it's just when I see like every single song is featuring someone, it kind of takes. I would deduct a point for that because it's like I get that you want to be creative, I get that you want to incorporate country artists, but like having every single song featuring like Hank Williams Jr., Morgan Wallen, Blake Shelton, Dolly Parton. Yeah, it kind of like took it away from me a little bit, and that's no diss to it. I'm just saying, you know, Post could do. I think Post can write a song no matter what, and it'll be like a huge hit. I just wish that it was like not I wish that not every single song was featuring an artist. That's just me personally. Right About You, good. As I said, that's about a seven. Mexico featuring Billy Strings is a seven as well, and Yours kind of to close out the regular track listing. Is about a 6.5. I could go up to a seven on this one if I wanted to. Um, did you guys do the bonus tracks too or no? The extended track listing too or
Yep.
no? Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. I want to make sure. I did it too. I want to make sure. Now these are the songs that do not have any other features on them, which I applaud him for trying. This is where the album kind of picks up a little bit with the second side of it. Fallen in Love is about a 7.5 for me. Dead at the Honky Tonk. I just love that title for whatever reason. It's about a seven. Kill the Man, another 6.5. Ain't How It Ends. That's another a 6.5 right there. Hey Mercedes, about a seven. Could go up a little bit depending on what day I'm in. Um, Go to Hell. Very, very direct lyrics there with Go to Hell. Um, um, Nonetheless, though, that's about a 7 out of 10 for me there too. Two Hearts, a 6.5. Could go up to a seven. Who Needs You? Uh, 7.5 nonetheless. And Back to Texas, good track overall. Definitely a 7 out of 10. So, I mean, personally, my this album is a lot to digest. There's a total of what, like 20 something, almost 20, almost 30 songs on this record if you include the bonus tracks, which we did on our review here. This album is a lot to digest, a lot of country, very heavy, heavy, heavy country vibes going on with Posty right now. But nonetheless, overall, I mean, as someone who's not a big country guy, who actually really is like who does not listen to it on a daily basis, at least here in the U.S. where it's very popular. I'm sitting at about a 7.75. I could go up to an eight depending on the day because I listened to it a lot before we did our review, but I could go up to an eight because this is the kind of country music that I can tolerate. When I'm not a big fan of like I'm driving my truck and I'm gonna but there's a it's like your typical like honky tonk country vibes. I mean it's I'm not saying that every country song is like that, but at least there's a couple of really good tracks in there. Like on the first was I Had Some Help. I really liked. I wanted to pour me a drink. The first there's a lot of really just solid tracks on this record overall that kind of brought it up for me. But the amount of features on the record, kind of took a dip in my rating for me, just because there's so many features on here. And features, I mean, if anyone can write a song in 5 minutes, but it's what you do with those songs and how you can handle it by yourself. Yeah, that's kind of what I put there. So I'm sitting about a 7.75 for Post Malone's F-1 Trillion Long Bed. His most recent, probably his first, or maybe of many of more country albums. So I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. Um, I know that Kyle is a big Post Malone fan, though.
I sure am. And Austin last year ended up being one of my top five albums of the year. So I was really excited for this one. After that record, I was excited for him to do something further away from those like hip hop rap lines that he was, started his career in. I was kind of thinking he was gonna go more like soft rock, like that kind of vibe. But a little while ago, came out that he was working on a country project, and I was like, all right, that could be cool. I could see that. Definitely could see him doing something like that. When it came out, I didn't expect it to be 18 songs. Didn't expect it to be a full-blown album. And I think every one of his albums has had 18 or so songs on it. I really did not need this double album though. I'm gonna be honest right off the bat there. He went the Taylor Swift way of the day the album came out, he was like, "Oh, by the way, here's 9 more songs or whatever." Uh, and I think that he should have taken a less is more approach on this. So I'm just going through it quickly. Wrong Ones with Tim McGraw. It's like a 7 to me. It has more of like an old school country feeling than I was expecting on it. And I'm not the biggest fan of Tim McGraw in general. I've never been the biggest fan of him. Cool to hear some like grit put on Post Malone's voice. That was pretty cool to hear. Not my preferred style of country though. Finer Things with like Hank Williams Jr. Much better for me. So it's about an 8. Another like it's around more my preferred style of country. I really like the guitar solo on this. That country guitar solo works well. Has catchy vocal melodies on this that I thought was missing from Wrong Ones. And then you know what? He knows how to pick a good single. I'll tell you that because all the singles on this one were the best of the record. I had some help with Morgan Wallen as a certified Morgan Wallen disliker here. Uh, this was very good. This is a 10 out of 10. I love this song. It's a great, fun summer country song. Super catchy. Even the guitar riffs and like the guitar licks on it are catchy. And this one, when it came out, was kind of my first indication that he was actually serious about the country direction and not just using it as some kind of gimmick. Like you could tell his heart was actually in it with this. Same thing, Pour Me a Drink with Blake Shelton. Fun summer drinking song. Not really much more to it than that. It's an 8. And you got Have the Heart with Dolly Parton. And here's where I started to already get annoyed by the features. I mean, he has like the biggest names in country music, modern and past, present on this record, right? But did we need it on just about every song? I'm gonna say no. I think that on a lot of these tracks, the features took away from it. Dolly Parton, all the respect to her, she's a legend in her own right. I just didn't really think her voice worked in this one that well. It's just a standard country instrumental. I like the piano on it. It's like a nice duet. I just didn't care for her voice on it. Maybe something about the production on her voice too. Could be that she's just getting, old and they had to put some effects on it. I don't know. Standard country love song wasn't bad. I think I would have liked it without her on it more. It sits at about a 7. Then we get to the first, solo song by him on here with What Don't Belong to Me. And I really like this chorus. This is more of a pop song though, with slight country elements, and you like with that guitar tone. Bit repetitive. It's a good chorus though. And that's something that goes say for a lot of this album is the choruses tend to be good, but a bit overused and repetitive. So it's another 8. And you're gonna notice a lot of 8 and 7s on this album for me. Goes without saying with Brad Paisley. I like Brad Paisley. I like the lyrics on this one. It's a good song. It's another 8. A bit too reliant on that chorus to its own detriment. Again, with the standard country instrumentation, though. And it's at this point that I'm already starting to get kind of tired by that same instrumentation throughout nearly every song. But then we have by far my favorite song on this album with Guy for That with Luke Combs. Luke Combs is great. He's probably the best modern country artist out there right now. Love his voice. Perfectly written track. Best chorus of the album. The melody on it is more creative and original than just about every other song here. They work insanely well together. 10 out of 10. And then we get to really the first song that I think changes the tone a bit with Nosedive. And it's a 9. It's a very welcome change at this point. And I really could have done without that feature though. Her parts are my least favorite parts of the song and really bring it down for me from what could have been another 10 out of 10, which leads directly into what I think is the worst song of the record on Losers with Jelly Roll, which surprised me because I'm not the biggest Jelly Roll fan, but he's been featured on a ton of songs this year, specifically the past few months. I mean, you got MGK, Eminem, Falling in Reverse, some others that I'm sure I'm forgetting right now off the top of my head, then Post Malone. And this just doesn't work for me. His feature, again, not needed. The vocal melody on this is really irritating. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me. Really not a fan of this one at all. Really dropped the ball in that collaboration. Immediately picks it up though with Devil I've Been with Ernest. Sits at about an 8. The vocals have a really nice groove to them on this one that I appreciated, but I didn't need the feature again. I thought that the featured guy's verse, I've never heard of him, but I thought that could have been left out. I didn't like that. The rest of his features okay, but that verse just didn't do it for me. Never Love You Again is interesting to me because it's a really nice calming song. This one reminded me more of like old school, like the Everly Brothers style than anything else on the album. Pretty good. Sits at a 7. I enjoyed that one. And then everything I said about that collaboration with Luke Combs earlier on the album goes out the window for Missing You Like This, where this is just not a great song. It's very standard and very bland. So I don't know what happened to the creative juices on this one. I guess it all went into a guy for that. This one sits at a 6, but honestly, without Luke Combs, this would have been a 5. It just really disappointed me coming from having such a good feature with them together, like 5 songs prior, that I was like, what? Which led to another questionable use of a legend. You have Chris Stapleton feature on California Sober. I just don't think he used Chris Stapleton like almost at all here, or at least not to what you could have. I mean, the guy's a great vocalist, great country music artist, and this one's just lame. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's fine. Just really could have used that feature better. It's a 5. It's just background music. Hide My Gun with Hardy. Okay, it's fine. I'm starting to get album fatigue at this point. It's a 7. It's all right. It's good. And then the album, really, at least the standard edition, ends on super high notes for me. Right About You, 10 out of 10. Love this song. Proves he didn't need a feature on every single song here. Benefited a lot from that. I love the guitar licks that happen right after the chorus. Lyrically, it's really sweet. I really like the song. It's really good. And then same thing, Mexico with Billy Strings. This is what I wanted from this album. There's so much of the same like tempo songs throughout. There's like, yeah, we finally got like a cool, like really southern, like almost like fast outlaw country style song on here. Really needed a couple more of these. I love this one. Has a great guitar solo on it too. Fantastic. And then ending it with Yours would have been perfect. I didn't need the rest of the songs. The rest of the 9 songs could have been completely left off. I love Yours. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. It's another just one of those style of country songs that I really like. You can really feel the emotion in it. It's a really sweet song. Also been a while since there was like a good like a father-daughter dance song written. You know, Bon Jovi kind of tried it for his son on that last album and that failed. That was not good. So it's been a while. Really great. Would have been a really great ending. I'm going to pretend that the album ended there, but we're going to talk about the deluxe real quick. Fallen in Love. It's a 6. It's okay. It's too repetitive, but it's not bad. Dead at the Honky Tonk. It's good. It's a 7. It's another like fun outlaw country track. Could have done way more instrumentally. It's relatively standard. Killed a Man picks it up a little bit to an 8. I really like the message of this song, him killing off like the worst version of himself after realizing he's messing up his life. But again, could have done more musically, which is something that could be said for all of these 9 bonus tracks or double album tracks, whatever you want to call them. Ain't How It Ends. It's a 6. It's fine. Nothing special. I wouldn't go seek it out though, but I wouldn't skip it if it came on. Hey Mercedes. Best song of these tracks, for sure, without a doubt. 8 out of 10. Really fun. There's really nothing to set it apart from other, songs that are like this though. Same with Go to Hell. Fun, catchy chorus, nothing else really to make it apart. And then it just ends on a lame note. with Two Hearts, that's a 6. It's just a sad song. Needed way more going on. And Who Needs You and Back to Texas are both 5. Both just feel like background songs. But Back to Texas just really feels like a bunch of country tropes thrown together. Like if you told me this is the first attempt he ever made at writing a country song, I would not be surprised. It just felt like trope after trope thrown one after another into each verse. So overall, this album needed more upbeat songs. Too many of the songs just sounded too similar to each other throughout. Similar to that Taylor Swift album that we talked about earlier in the year. It did not need to be a double album at all. There's actually one really, really solid album hidden in here if you got rid of a handful of songs or a big chunk of them. Too many songs. Features did not need as many as we got. So, I mean, combined that whole double album version, I give it a 7.5. It's a good listen. It's interesting. The deluxe version, like the deluxe tracks, sit at about probably like a 6.5. And the standard edition, that one honestly probably could have gone to a low 8. But yeah, as is 7.5.
All right, and Mike is like the biggest Posty fan here of all. I mean, he loves Post Malone.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. This was a really painful listen. And not because any of the music was necessarily inherently bad.
Hmm.
A lot of it felt overkill, like trying to prove yourself that you can put out a country album or a song from each of country's different little areas. Like Kyle said, he got that outlaw feel on some of these songs. That southern kind of like more like southern rock, country rock attempt. Then you have your just real traditional music, like straight like from like the 50s or something like that, or like like Kyle was saying about the Everly Brothers. Uh, and then it just jumps all over the place. It's got a lot of different things going on. Um, and it just for a while feels less like Post Malone and more like other people with Post Malone kind of play like giving tribute to the many different sounds of country. And country really isn't a straight note. It can be very modern, it can be very traditional. And like I agree with you guys completely, not to beat a dead horse, but like definitely those features aren't needed, and also just it feels like a marathon race of like how many people can we fit on this thing, how many songs can we pump into this. And I swear I think Jelly Roll is currently riding around in a Winnebago to be on his next feature, because it must be very difficult to just go from one area to the next. So he's probably outside your house right now. Please don't look at the window. But anyway, yeah, like it really is an interesting thing. Now, I don't know if Post Malone here is trying to kind of chase relevance within like being a genre bender, like, hey, look at me, I can just rattle this off. I understand he's probably like paying tribute by performing songs that really don't feel like him, that feel like him doing an imitation of something else. There are a couple songs in this that do sound like him doing a country song, which is weird. Like it feels like his previous album, certain songs on there. It just um so like some of the songs, like you got your traditional ones like the rare start off the bat wrong ones. Final things have these are kind of like those are traditional, your traditional artists with your traditional kind of feel to them. I'm just warning you guys. I'm rating this from how I felt about the song, not if the song was well done in the sense of like that it had parts that didn't make sense or it just repeated or whatever. It's all from strictly my opinion. So like my opinion is much lower because it's how I enjoyed the song. It doesn't necessarily I'm saying this is a bad song. It's just to me, my perception is this kind of, so I want to make sure I mention that first, because none of the songs in this album felt like they're overly like not well done or produced or written or whatever. It's just some of them were so traditional and so like the kind of stuff I even wrote on one of these songs, Kyle Y. I actually wrote that, because Kyle had I literally just wrote Kyle Y with all these question marks. That was for Mexico, by the way, though I haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, like it would some places had me in a weird place. So I got a 3 for the first one and a 2 for the second. I know that seems harsh, but like it's just not my things. I'm not a fan of like how he changes his voice to sound country. All of a sudden he's ending his sentences with a certain word because he's doing a country album. Like, no, no, sir, you do a accent because you are from the South, not because you're doing an impersonation of the South. It just seems such a strange thing to hear somebody doing an album and they're just pretending to be country. So, and I just never feel like that should be a thing. It always should be, I'm doing a country album because I have something to tell you from the country. I'm country and this is who I am. I'm not just on an act to pay tribute. So yeah, first two are just, not my thing. I had some help. I like this one a little bit better. I gave it a 5. Didn't hate it, didn't love it, but it's just kind of a little more catchy. Have the heart, God bless her. I love pour me a drink. Sorry, my bad. 2 out of 10. Just did not like this song. It just didn't give me much to chew on. There's just a lot of predictability in these songs. Uh, have the heart. It literally sounds like pour me a drink. I could almost hear the same kind of similar instrumentation to the original song. Yeah, so have it's nice to see him do a Dolly, have Dolly Parton in on the track, but it's not going to save it. I appreciate it. It is a good nod to her style and to some degree, but it was just a 2 out of 10. I really just did not like this song. Um, yeah, then we have why what don't belong to me. That's what it's called. I actually did not like the song. I wanted to sound like I was going to say it's good, but it just sounds like a less country pop radio song, and uh, some of these songs had more of Post Malone's traditional, like that little um auto tune on his voice at times. Like Kyle said, there are some ones where he gets gritty with it, and does a little more grit to his vocals, but it's just not enough to really sell that whole thing. So then let's see. I believe it goes without saying. This is one of my favorite songs on the album. Actually, 6 out of 10 for that. It was just, it's got a little more less traditional. Whenever he touches on a less traditional sound, I am more of a fan of it, and it's kind of weird. It's like some of these songs reminded me of like Shania Twain, and I liked that Shania Twain kind of like more traditional like rock song with some country elements to it than I do the other side, like where it gets real country, like yeah, it just that's where I sit better with what I listen to. Guy for that, yeah, it's a 3 out of 10. I'm not going to go into everything. Nosedive's a 4. Losers, I actually like this song, Kyle.
Of course.
Yeah, without fail, Kyle and I, like, some days I'll call Kyle in the middle of the night and just be like, Kyle, I'm struggling if this is good or not. He's like, it's good, and I'm like, I hate it. All right, yeah, he's like the guru I check in with to really center myself, figure out who I am. So I just got to make sure I don't doubt my own expectations. I just like the less country. I like the some country involved with it. Devil I've Been, that's a 3. Never Love You Again, that's a 2. Missing You Like This, I actually enjoyed this one. Is that the one you hated, pal, right?
Yep, didn't care for it.
That's 5.5. It's not like I loved it. I'm not gonna go out and, uh be in the front row with Post Malone and, like be like, yeah, but I'm definitely liked it better. California Sober, this one made me want to drink, to be honest with you. Like I actually had a drink next to me, and I was just like, I need this because I'm getting to the point where it's this album is starting to drag on. So I was like a three. Hide My Gun. I actually thought that was pretty decent. A 5 out of 10. More of a catchy kind of a song. Had some more elements that caught my ear. Right About You was a four. Mexico. This is the one I wrote Kyle why. Like I said before, I gave it a one. It's
Crazy.
just not because it's a bad song, but because it's
You're
just
crazy.
because it is just too much. It's like somebody doing hey, watch, I can really do a country song, a real like backwoods kind of whatever, and like it's not because they should be doing it, it's because they can. Like I could go and I don't know, I could throw a rock off a bridge and hit a car. Do I want to do it? No, I don't. But like
Don't lie, Mike. I
yours
know
are
you want to do it.
yeah, well, that's for another time. It's on my vacation. But yours, I actually kind of enjoyed the song. It's like that wedding song, kind of
Mhm.
like Kyle was saying. It's like you need a little more melodic catchiness to it, but it wasn't terrible. It just kind of fell flat. Um, Fall in Love is four, very predictable. Um, it's just it doesn't consist of much. It kind of reminded me of Michael Bublé doing a country song. It's weird. Like, I don't know. Dead at the Honky Tonk. This is my favorite song. This is my favorite song. The other one was like a 6.5. It's got some cool underlying melodies that really I like that he's doing there alongside the outlaw, like I was saying. And it's proof that not all country songs need to be so country that they're like, you know, uh, they got that just, they're trying to use a lot of traditional instruments, the violins and stuff like that to really drive it home. But sometimes less is more. And this album suffers from too much. It's trying to do too many songs. It feels like it can't ever finish chewing. It's just trying to oh, look how many things I can do. I can cram into this. I can do every style and thing you think of when you think of country, and like that's not always a good attack. Kill the Man, yeah, it's four. Ain't How It Ends is a five. Hey Mercedes, five. Go to Hell's a two. Two Hearts, too boring. Two. Who Needs You? And Back to Texas. Yeah, it's pretty much just like a three. So overall, there are a couple moments that feel like Post Malone doing a country song as Post Malone. And there feels like a lot of country songs, the Post Malone paying homage to other country artists, doing an impersonation of their style while simultaneously losing all the things that make Post Malone Post Malone. And I, for one, am just kind of person who like doesn't like those kinds of things. Falling in Reverse is another band that kind of like gets caught up in the hey, watch how many things I can do to prove that I'm a diverse artist. Like I'm just gonna just rip off like a rap part and then go into like an EDM part and then go into a like and like while you are bringing like kind of shedding some light on your diversity, you are also not blending those all together in a believable and digestible kind of offering. And so for as overall, it's I would give it a four because it's not necessarily badly written, badly done album. It just does not feel or like something that originated in the true fashion of a man performing an album. It felt like it originated in styles that a man is performing to show you like kind of the country uh history or country kind of the different shades that it can offer, but just didn't feel like a lot of him existed within it.
All right, you heard it here first, guys. That's Mike's rating of a 4 out of 10 for Post Malone's F-1 Trillion. That's it, right? I think we're good, right, guys?
Yep.
That's all she wrote. We want to thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoy tonight. Thanks so much for tuning into our podcast. As always, we do live Monday nights EST on YouTube, and then we upload them to podcast format the next day by yours truly. Kyle, Q&A podcast it's not back, is it? I think I said that last week.
Nope. Still haven't posted the episodes.
Ah, damn, so close. Um,
Almost.
almost there, almost there. Ultimately, guys, is what you have said there. Thanks so much for watching, listening, however you enjoy us tonight. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms as well, simply at the Super Review Show on Twitter, and Instagram and Facebook, simply at the Super Review Show. I want to thank the two gentlemen as always for doing this podcast with me as always. Kyle and Mike, thanks so much as always. Next week is Falling in Reverse, correct?
Sure is. Mike, you're in
Oh,
for a treat.
Yay. It's just a marathon here. Things that I
my
Think that you
my
love.
nonsensical.
Mike is beyond ready for Falling in Reverse's latest album to come out, and we're gonna review it.
Sigh.
He's hyped. But yeah, yeah, that's all for us. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week. So stay safe, take care.